Hi, I'm Tim Yates from Steelhouse Farm. This is... You can do it.
I'm Sadie Yates.
I'm Silas Yates, and we have a lot of fun doing this.
So we are a small family farm here in the Back Creek Valley, which is in Berkeley County in the Eastern Panhandle. We raise market products for the farmers markets and direct sales of chicken, eggs, pork, beef, lamb, and turkey. We sell mostly at farmers markets. All our sales are direct, though, to customers and restaurants. And everything we're doing is naturally based, pastured for sure, all outside, GMO free, no antibiotics, no hormones, all in that kind of vein of agriculture. So today we're going to talk about pigs, and we're going to start, we have it divided into three components: fence, water, and feed. So we're going to start with fence, and for us, rotation is the key to everything we're doing. And so to facilitate that with the pigs, we are using a single strand of electric wire. And so we do not farrow any pigs. We only buy 30 to 40 pound weaned piglets. And when we bring them in, we have to train them to respect the wire. Our experience is once they've learned what this wire means, they will not cross it. That's not to say you won't have a little problems here and there, but for the most part, if you train them correctly to the wire, you can drive them anywhere on your property with this wire. And so I just want you to see a little bit here. What we've got as a general principle is we have a hot wire coming from our barn, which has electricity. So we have a plug-in charger down at the barn, and we're bringing that hot wire out from the barn all the way up here on the hill. So that's this wire. And then the individual paddock is divided off with this other wire, and we just have a little jumper cable to get power into that wire. You can sort of see here, we've got anything that'll hold a wire up. Looks like you got 4 different kinds of posts here from whatever feed store you've got locally. You just need to make sure you're not conducting the power down into the ground. We typically use the metal posts where we need a sturdier connection. You can see we're changing directions there. So we've got a metal post there, but these line posts are just kind of flimsy, and they're just basically holding the wire up off the ground. You want the wire to be about nose height for your average pig. So we'll quickly just walk over here while we're talking about fence. And so we've left this group in a little longer than we normally would so that we could get it in the video. But you can see it's the same kind of deal with the wire. We're using the thicker gauge wire for the training. But what we've done is we have a regular hard fence behind. So I've got about a foot separation there. So when we drop these pigs in, they don't know anything about the wire, so when they touch it, their instinct is to go forward, and so you need something to catch them and physically restrain them within where you're training them. So this circle is closed when they first come in here, and they kind of just bounce around a little bit, but our experience is each pig touches that wire once, maybe twice, and then they never touch it again. They really just learn what that means. And then after a week or so, you can see here we've started to open up the physical fence, and we've left just the wire. And when we come up here and everybody's still on this side, we just keep opening it more and more and more, and then we know they're trained. And so later today, we're going to actually take all this down and let this new group go in with the old group. Okay, so on water, we have 3 different things that we use for water. The first is just your simple pan. We use the rubber pan because the pigs like to lay on them and these don't break. So when they start out, usually we've just got this rubber pan in here and we're checking them often anyway to make sure nobody's stuck or things like that. So we're just dumping water in there. And if you only have 1 or 2 pigs, you can get away with that for a long, long time. But then we switch them over to a barrel with a nipple waterer. And again, these are available everywhere. And you've seen them at the county fairs, I'm sure, just in a pipe. There's lots of different ways you can rig up this nipple waterer, and they quickly learn that that's where they get their water. And for us, this is very versatile. We can just keep this, move it around, and then you're just adding water to this tank. As you get a little bigger, we've fooled around with making some more type water. So this is 2 nipple waterers just piped in with a little concrete, and then we can just hook a garden hose up to that and run it out to a bigger kind of stock tank. So we can bring a couple 100 gallons of water up here and just have it hooked up to that. Our experience with this is we had to tie it up to something because the pigs want to let water out and start rooting, and so they would want to flip it over. So we were tying it up to a tree to keep that from happening. Otherwise, it's pretty simple. Pigs definitely need water available all the time. They're going to want to do this, and that's just part of the deal. You want to try not to let them tear your ground up too much. And that's one of the reasons, the other one of the reasons we're moving them so often. Again, with our rotation, we're trying to get them on new ground pretty well constantly. So that's the water. Okay, so here we have our feeders. And just to give you an idea, when we started out, we just went to the local feed mill. Most any southern states or Tractor Supply, any type of place like that's going to have just a smaller feeder. This is a 2-hole variety. They also sell them in 1 hole if you want to go really small, but it's just a simple kind of hopper feeder. You dump the feed in here, and then the pigs learn to lift their noses up and get in there to get the feed. Our experience is when you first get the pigs, we would jam a rebar or something to hold the door up and then drag a little feed out in front of it. And the pigs, as soon as they see that feed there, they have a natural instinct to kind of root around and they'll figure this door out. But it does help to hold it up for that first day or 2. And then you can kind of graduate up. We're running anywhere up to 20 hogs at a time. And so we picked up a little larger feeder. This is just something I picked up at an auction. So even these more medium-sized feeders are available if you're really looking out there on the internet and stuff like that. It's the same principle. Doors to protect things, keep it from getting wet. But then you can see this will hold a whole lot more. And Nathan will probably zoom in there. You can see this is really handy because we can kind of drag it around in our system, but we can come out here and just dump a lot of feed in at once and not have to worry about it. You can get away with, if you're wanting to go really small, you could just use some feed pans and feed them every day. I will warn you that pigs, once they've kind of gotten their fill, they like to play, and so they will waste a lot of feed if the feeder is just kind of sitting there and extremely movable. So just be aware of that possibility. We've had great luck with these. As we've built up to this level, we started with just one of these, then we got 2 of them and strapped them back to back. This will hold 150 pounds of feed, so you can do pretty well with something this size. I don't even those numbers. We've gotten to where we had 6 or 8 pigs at a time on just this feeder. So you can get pretty far with something even just this small. And like I said, that's readily available pretty much anywhere. Okay, so the last thing we want to mention is shelter. Pigs are pretty stout. They don't need a whole lot. The main thing is shade, though. You can see in our training corral, we've got this apple crate turned upside down with a little siding on top to keep the water off. But they're mostly just staying out of the sun in that condition. Once they're bigger, we're moving them in our paddocks enough, and what we do is we fence in enough to make sure they've got some bushes, some trees. You'll see over here, the water is strapped to a pine tree. You just want to make sure they've got some shade, especially in the summertime. And so as a wrap up, just if you are at all contemplating adding pigs to your homestead, we highly recommend it. It really is a very simple thing to do. You can just get you some little 40 or 50 pound pigs from a neighbor down the road, and you literally just need a place to put them, a place for them to have water, and a way to get feed. And then you can just kind of watch them grow and then fill your freezer with really delicious meat.